Good morning. Welcome back to last day of EduDays 4. We paid very close attention to your survey remarks overnight. William's got veggie platters, cups for water, lots of veggie platters. So get your veggies today. Non-caffeinated beverages, and the chocolate was not refreshed overnight, so it was a health food day with all the veggie platters and no chocolate.
There's a benefit to getting here early.
Yeah, I get the last of the chocolate.
Yeah, there is a
Jane. All right. Also, we've scheduled a meeting this afternoon. It's on the wiki. A meeting this afternoon for the test site representatives. So I think that will be certainly the 8 schools and the PIs, and we'll talk about what's going on with the test sites and take care of some of that business while we're all here in the same place. I think we will take a break in between the 2 test sites this morning in terms of talks. We'll take like a 15-minute break in there. It's going to be a glorious Seattle summer day. All right, this is what we live for 10 months of the year around here, waiting for this kind of stuff. So if you know, the sun will be up till about 10 o'clock tonight. So even going downtown dinner time and hanging out down there for a couple hours would be a good excursion. There's a local information page on the wiki, and there's some travel information there, mostly oriented towards getting you from the airport to here. But I think it's the 71, 72, 73 bus, all run somewhere on campus to somewhere pretty central downtown. If you're going out to the airport, of course, there's the light rail will take you from the directions, I think, are the Pioneer Square station, but there must be a couple of stations downtown take you out to the airport. I've never done it, so don't ask me. I have a car. It works great. Yeah, everybody seems to manage it just fine. So, a trip down tomorrow morning would probably be nice too. So a trip downtown in the morning before you take the light rail out to the airport or something. Any, oh yes, we've got a visitor. Sergey, if you want to quickly introduce yourself.
I am Sergey Fomil. I'm from the University of Texas at Austin. I work in the geoscience department. I've been teaching a course called Mathematical Methods in Geophysics for undergraduates and using Sage to teach it. So hoping to learn more. And sorry I couldn't stop earlier. There is another conference here on campus.
Yeah, we know. That's why we couldn't get hotel rooms.
Right.
All right, welcome. Thanks for joining us. Anything else procedural, logistical to go over? Questions about any arrangements? Okay. We all know it's a significant Webwork presence, and Webwork to Sage and Sage to Webwork, and embed this one in the other, and so on and so forth. So I'm real interested to hear a report from John Travis and Malcolm Harper and maybe Jason Audrey about what's been going on with Webwork and Sage and activities this week. Take it away.
All right, there are several of us, I guess, in the name there, including for Webwork, we decided to put Kristen Dunst on there. I'm hoping she'll show up some year for the web part. Anyway, for those of you guys who don't know, Webwork is for online delivery and checking of homework problems for each student. You get an individualized question, answers are checked because they're inside, and cheating is discouraged because everybody's got their own. It's sponsored by NSF and supported by the MAA. Now, we would like to thank the Sage folks. Last year, Michael Pierce, who's now executive director, came to this meeting, and several of the rest of us did, and kind of bought into your idea of the Sage Days model. And so we have stolen it completely, although we've resisted doing the 1, 2, and 3. And so what we're doing is so we don't have conflict with 38 and 38.5 and 38.53. Or whatever. We are doing this kind of convention.
What are you going to do when you have another one at Rochester?
The year goes after it.
Okay.
Unless it's obviously this year. And if you have 2 in Rochester, then you've got to worry about it. But I don't think that's going to happen for us. For you guys, you'd have to have one. What's the name of the cabin y'all go to?
Wallace Falls Lodge.
So you'd have to do
Yes.
Wallace Falls Lodge and now you just grab whichever one you like.
Is that Perl notation?
It is. I came with the idea of sticking the name on it, so we would forget the 1s, 2s, and 3s, and Jason thought, put the Perl notation, and everybody goes, ah, and it was over. You know, it was one of those decisions, it was just like, oh, that's it, done. So we've had a code camp on new code features and brought in a new, several new people, and that momentum has continued to this meeting here. We have a users conference scheduled at my place next week, which is several people wanted to get together, and so we just kind of made a conference around it. So we're going to start probably having a lot more of those, where if you guys have some people locally without a lot of travel issues and want to develop, 5 or 10 people together with a users conference, then that's just, if you want to create one, contact us and we'll get you in charge of some people that might get a little bit of funding for that. In Winona, we're going to have another code camp focusing on content issues, model courses and things like that. But again, we're modeling on your particular model, so thank you for sharing that with us. For Webwork and Sage, we're dealing with the Sage Cell server, where we're going to have Webwork handling a lot of the randomization, different student version issues, and the answer checking. But that's letting Sage handle interactive and symbolic issues, and using some of the JMOL and just regular graphing capabilities of Sage, which are somewhat easier to manage than they are when doing in Webwork. Webwork will do a lot of graphing, but they're maybe a little bit harder to handle. So the idea is Webwork will start, deliver to the Sage cell, which will deliver back to Webwork for finishing. The history of this, last summer at this meeting, Mike Gage, Jason Aubrey, and Jason Grout did the proof of concept at Sage EDU 3. Following that, Jason, thank you, again, Ira and all the rest of the gang.
I read to that bullet point right there. He was the main one, not me.
Okay, I will do it later.
Okay, thanks.
By the way, this presentation is on the wiki now, so you can grab it there. But anyway, getting Aleph to work right, I guess the colon, whatever whatever, but ultimately Aleph. And once that was formalized, I started really working on these. I had a bunch of things waiting in the wings. And so I was able to get a lot of problems together, but passing variables, the randomized variables into the Sage cell, Mike Gage and I figured out at the joint meetings in Boston in not January 2013, but 2012. So we haven't yet done that apparently. But we did that actually at the exhibit booth across from the Sage folks. And so we can go from Webwork into Sage. And then over the spring, I did a bunch of these problems and tested them out in my multivariate calculus class and fixed a few of them. When students actually use them is when you really find the issues. Malcolm and Sebastian, y'all can talk about what y'all did at Days 38.
So in the spring, I went to Sage Days 38 in Montreal, essentially to try to learn Sage. But one of the things I wanted to do was, I sort of knew a little bit about people who were embedding Sage in Webwork, but I didn't really know how it worked. So my project for myself for that Sage Days was to figure out how this worked. So John sent me his examples and I worked from there. And with that, Sebastian was one of the organizers at Sage Days 38 and encouraged me in this project. So I was able to figure out what John did and follow his examples and find my own kind of gotchas and work through them. And it was, I really like this idea. And then I guess this week, I've been working away on stuff, but about all I can say that I've accomplished is sort of, it's a hack, but we have a way now to pass answers back from Sage to Webwork. So in the previous examples, a student had to work in Sage, find the answer, and then type that answer back into Webwork. And this is not really 2012 technology for the students, right? You want to make it as seamless for the students as possible. So we can pass the answers back from Sage to Webwork automatically using this construct. I don't know if this means anything to you, but Sage will actually write this into the page, and then Webwork will pick it up from the page. This gets interpreted from Webwork into looking at what it's supposed to look like for the Webwork answer. So Sage is written. That's nice. Stuff is.
Is the answer.
Stuff is the answer. Sage has computed. Do you want me to keep going? Or there are some problems because, and maybe John will talk a little bit more about this, now that we've got this working, Sage has its ideas about mathematical objects, which work very well for it, and Webwork has its ideas about mathematical objects, but the two don't necessarily match up. So for example, I think John yesterday was working on a problem where there was a matrix that he wanted to pass from Sage back to Webwork, and Webwork has its own sort of matrix object, but the objects are not the same at all. So he had to figure out a way around that. So one of the things we want to do eventually is come up with a dictionary. I don't know if there's a point doing automatic translation, but even if you wanted to do automatic translation, you'd have to come up with a dictionary first. How does this translate?
All right, so we'll try to work on some of that. Jason Aubrey, at this meeting, has been trying to work on, he's going to put this in a minute, what he's doing, but about the Webwork applet structure that he's trying to develop that will hide some of these issues, including, for example, the call to Aleph. We'd like to make that built into your local implementation, so if you want to go to some other server as your default choice, that it's there. Right now, all the problems have Aleph hard coded into the problem. That's a mistake, but it's all they can do for now. And so eventually we'd like to fix that, so it's just a call that goes somewhere. One of the things that I've been trying to focus on in using Sage is so I can ask questions that focus on conceptual issues, and there are no formulas. I've said the word Wolfram here in this room, but I don't want people to go to Wolfram Alpha and type in the answer and plug it in and be gone. I want to make them have to think through a question and go through the concepts. Or the Sage cell for the better students. I would like to make it where they can. And so, let me show you a few examples. If you would like to go through and do some read by without doing anything else, just log in as guest to this URL at Mississippi College right here, and you can play with all of them. It does not, if you're logged in as guest, it does not check your answer and tell you if it's correct or not. So if you'd like to have that kind of access, send me an email at my email address there, and I can create a student account for you. I'm happy to create a professor account for you. Please don't kill anything. And you can go through and look at all the back-end side as well. So email me there. Just to show you some of the kind of ways these work, and these problems here are problems that I've had for a while, but I have refreshed them using the stuff that Malcolm has done in the current state of things. And so this is just a kind of an idea. This is Webwork generated stuff up here. We're trying to find, let's see, the volume of the region bounded by these things. Webwork can interchange the order of these variables. So I have 6 different choices of x, y's, and z variables. So students might not even get the same variables in the same order. But lots of times when you ask these kind of volume questions, you just want to see if the student can set them up properly. You don't, at this juncture, you don't really care if they do the actual integrals because you presume that they can. It's just a tedious fact. And so, Jason, I would love to be able to set time and to request a length of time on this, because this might you might think for a moment, and by the time you thought, it's already used up the time. So I'm going to refresh it before I start here.
So right now it's a 1 minute time limit. What if we upgraded it to 5 minutes? Would that make a huge difference?
Yes, that would make a huge difference.
I think 5 minutes is still reasonable to prevent load on the server, so maybe we'll do that.
Well, look at this problem. Just tell me. So I do who first? X, Y, or Z? Can y'all see? I guess Z goes first, right? Because Z goes from constant to constant. So,
Depends on.
Oh, and speaking of this, see right here. Look at this right here. See the formatting issue?
Wow, that's inside the drop down, right?
Yes.
Huh.
And several times when you put over here a formatted thing in the Sage cell, it does not fit well with whatever the input box is. This happens more. I put this one here for this purpose, to make that point. So that's something to consider.
Wonder if that's a mathematics problem or our problems.
Does that depend on the browser?
It happens in Firefox and Safari. I don't know about any of the other Microsoft choices.
Chrome.
Actually, I do know about them because I've had to check them out some, but yes.
Yeah, Chrome might also.
I don't remember. I guess I used Chrome too. But that's something to consider. I don't know whose fault that is, but I can't do it. I have some others that have the same issues. I would love to make the drop-down box formattable.
Well,
That's probably an HTML issue, isn't it?
yeah, but the other thing I'd like to do is make it so that you can give arbitrary HTML and put your controls wherever you want. So somebody in Canada posted up an example where they have an integral sign and then the box at the top and bottom of the integral sign.
I've stolen that one.
Oh, okay.
This coming,
So that, they had to do really complicated stuff to get that to work, and we can do some pretty straightforward switch to make it really easy to do.
well, I'm going to steal that one and make these boxes here, fit on the tips of these things. And I'm not sure I'm going to go to the color coding. That may be just almost too much, because but I might put that picture in. They have a really nice 3D picture that goes in there that actually describes the volume precisely. That's very nice. Let's start this again because you know why. And so let's
I'll
just
point out,
go ahead.
people, the green frame means it's still active, and you'll notice a little spinning thing up at the top, that means there's still data coming back. Once your frame turns black, it's dead.
All right, so I have the 6 choices here for order of operation. So it's dx, dy, dz, I'm almost certain. And so this outside variable, so z goes from 0 to 3, and you can see Sage doing this. You'll notice I've got some weird issue going on here. I picked this one on purpose for this reason as well, is I have no clue what's going on here. It takes the first digit, puts a slash in front of it, makes it red. This doesn't happen universally. It happens on this problem in this way. So maybe we can look at that sometime, but it's just an oddness. All right, see, the y goes from -3. So Sage is doing all of this, and you can see it happening as I go. To z squared, then x goes from where? -z. I've made these on purpose in the Webwork portion so that they make sense. But the student has to figure out who goes first and second. I need to swap, I swap those so they're backwards. They can't just go from here to there. Does that make sense? And the answer shows up to be there. And so used to be the student would have to go through and type in a box down here, that answer. Now we can just go, I'm going to do all of it here, which the student would have access to all those. And there's the correct answer, checked and submitted back from Sage into Webwork. And all they had to do was fiddle with the Sage interact.
So it didn't check their lines, all it checked was the
No.
final volume.
I guess if they got a real lucky choice of some other limits. But that correct answer is stuck into the web problem, so I don't think we have access to cheating and stealing it. So there's nothing, and I don't believe I put in the Sage part any kind of reference to the correct answer. So they have to do it. All right, and so there's that one. This one we just finished this morning. We took one I'd already done and have actually made it to where it does the same kind of not having enter the answer. Just wanted to show you another picture. I did bring 3D glasses this year, but I didn't bring anything to show you because I figured you already seen those from last year. So this is a question that has a lot of. This is more of a teaching question, but it's talking about the average value of a function. The average value of a function is that. You can bring this term to the other side, and there you have this. I probably should swap those. And so we're trying to make the height times the height times the base of something equal to the volume of the item. And so I have this picture here in Sage, which looks better if I don't zoom in. There we go. And so over here, I've got a graph that has the height of this box with almost no volume in it. And the surface is up here. And the student can adjust the height without having any clue what the formula is for this surface. So they can't type it in and integrate it. And so the box volume is obviously smaller than the average value of the function. So let's go and try the higher. I know the answer is 21 point something, so let's just get there quicker. That's close. Not quite there yet, but you can see maybe I am a little low. It'd be nice to have a function that wiggles some more, but this is good enough for now. Let's try that. Boom, 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 boom. So you can see that they're trying to get the volumes of the, whatever the exact volume should be, equal to the volume of the box by simply raising the height of the box.
Did Sage just kick out a random function there? Will each student see a different wavy surface?
I will show you.
Okay.
All right, so there you can see that the box volume and the exact volume should be right. They can look at it over here. It's going to be really nice if I picked a better function that wiggles, but I want to pick something that was not going to break. By the way, this is just one other feature, but since I got an iPad, I realized that you can't see this, and so I've included starting to include a button for at least, I guess, tachyon or whatever.
Okay.
You can't do anything with it, but at least you can still see something. And regardless, the answer has persisted here, and let's just see everything I've got. And the answer is correct. And so once again, we can submit the answer the natural way. And so this is, I just finished this one this morning. And I need to make some pretty pictures down here, I guess. You asked, so I'm going to answer it, edit the problem. And
The new version of JML that Jonathan wants us to merge, I think you won't have to have that box because
It's busy though.
that's just like the last week or so, right?
it hasn't been merged yet, but he's been pushing us to merge it.
I saw it on the mailing list
Yeah.
and such, and I'm looking forward to that because I want to, I have to do it twice.
Jason, can you finish that thought for those of us who didn't know? The new
Again?
version, the new
Oh.
version won't require that because,
Okay, so, right, so Jonathan Guteau has been working quite a bit, and he now has implemented a JML thing that will first send a static picture and then send the JML stuff. And so it either renders it using JML on the server or Tachyon on the server, and the first thing your browser sees apparently is a static picture of what it is. So what he was showing there after you check the box. And then it sends the Java version too, but I
so
think-
if you're stuck on a browser with something global without Java,
Right, I think.
you at least get the static.
I think that's right.
It's gonna be yellow box,
Yeah.
and that's a
Yeah.
big issue. So I've been going back to the problems and recoding them, see what you're telling me is just wait.
Yeah, and you could also use the Canvas 3D viewer,
It was a choice, I mean, yeah.
right, which works on the iPad and you can actually scroll it around too.
Okay,
Yeah.
then I'll change that one to that.
Right, yeah.
Question about the randomization. For this particular problem, here's my function, which looks like a paraboloid, and they get different heights, and I modify this one to the x squared a little bit. So everybody gets a different number, so their heights are all going to be different. And you can see I'm choosing it, between 20 and 30 by ones. I could make that anything, but I just, and just for the fun of it, to go to the bottom, the answer is, where are we? Oh yeah, I put a tolerance here, and so you can adjust that, because they're going to not get it exactly right, obviously, so that's all fully adjustable. Is that what you were asking?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so that's just a couple of those. One of the things I was trying to do at this conference is I wanted to get ready for my spring 13 linear algebra, like junior level and sophomore level linear algebra course. And so I wanted to develop a few problems. So I just want to show you a couple of those. Again, these are all on my server, Mississippi College. All right, this is an example where you're trying to solve AX equals to B. Let me make it a little bigger. Trying to solve AX equal to B by taking the columns of A and finding what linear combination makes B in their span. And so what I've done is there's a column, oh now I need to go the other way. There's a column of A, that's the first column of A. That's the second column of A stuck end to end. And so this, and I'm starting out with, where did I put the slide? At the top. One of the first and one of the second. I'm going to modify this so that the original vector stays there all the time. Right now, as I adjust this, we'll see that A1 probably should be negative, right? I need a negative number of that. So again, the student does not have access to these values. All they have access to is the picture. I'm waiting. There we go. Well, that's a little too much probably. Let's go ahead and make this one negative because A2 has to be negative as well, right? And so yesterday you were mentioning about the new kind of variant of this. It's going to have this much faster. This problem could really use that. So X1 has to be a little smaller, right? I forgot the correct answer that was for me.
And your arrows will look better in the next version of Sage too.
Well, the arrow doesn't go to the very end of that,
We
see?
fixed that. Next version of Sage.
Yeah.
It was a dumb
That-
thing I did.
That's why the dot's where it is.
Yep.
And it's like, oh, that doesn't work right, actually. If they're gonna solve this problem.
It's fixed in the next version of Sage.
Okay. So let's cut to the chase here. I need to go back one there. I think that's that apparently is, right? And a little shorter here, but shorter in the, whatever, the negative direction.
Wouldn't it be great if you could just drag points around inside the block?
It would be nice. It would be exactly the same thing, except the slider would be there, and we're perfect, right? I tried to make that circle a different size, or dot a different size, and I couldn't do it. Maybe I can't, I didn't know. And so there's no place down here to put input. Let's just check the answers, and voila. So it works. Problem number 2 is the same kind of thing, but now it's in 3D. And so there you've got A1, the first column, the second column, and the third column, lined up end to end. And you've got to figure out a trick. Now, this is a little harder, right? And so what I'll do, and you can see this down here because I'm logged in as the instructor. After 2 attempts, it's going to tell me to pick the first coefficient between 1.266, whatever, and 1.8. So now it tells you it's positive for the first one in somewhere. After 4 tries, and again, they can figure this out, start guessing randomly for 4 times, but the first you guys have to work this all the way through. It tells you the first coefficient is 1.6, so they won't spend all day long trying to just do random guesses out in the middle of nowhere, because there are 3 choices. So let's see if I can guess it real quick. 1.6 is there, right? And I'm pretty sure that I've done this one before, that it's -2. And so now you can see that, see it there? But we're going to probably have to go take that A3 and go the other direction, make it negative.
They're both labeled A2.
Only in an alternate universe. Crap. Okay. Oh well, there's always something to fix, right? Thank you. I'll fix that
Now,
one.
when they see this, they don't have any numerical value for the,
None.
they're just looking at the picture and they're manipulating the picture.
Yes, so
There's
what, the point is you're trying to get across the idea that
Right.
this vector B is in the span of these 3 vectors. And so, and they can't plug it into Sage or anything. What do you think? Is that it?
Pretty good.
That looks pretty darn good, doesn't it? Everybody agree? And so no place to plug it in. I like, this is just, it was always irritating to type the numbers in. And so the answers and voila.
And they don't have the actual matrix, so they can't do the computation.
No. And the answers, of course you could do that.
Right.
But that's not the point.
Yeah.
The point with the problem here is I'm trying to teach with my homework set, not trying to check and see what if they know how to do the answer, but can they understand the idea? And that's way more important to me. That's one reason I really like things like Webwork, is that they aren't all built on just the textbook question, which are often focused on 3 and 9.2s. But this is focused completely on the concept. Here's a problem. I need to make it look a little nicer, but there is it says it up here. It actually says 2 are drawn, but that's actually 3 together. I want to transform this home plate into the red figure. And so I'm probably going to take the home plate and translate it over here. And so I want to reflect across the Y, let's say. Let's see what I get. I'm still going yes. It shouldn't take that long. This was the one where we discovered the problem with the matrix issues. And so I probably want to, I'm going to go ahead and skew it vertically, skew out. And that's good actually. And then I probably need to do a vertical expansion, I'm guessing. And so they have to figure out the right kind of things to do without the arithmetic, and there you go. Oopsie, sorry.
Or you could even put
And
the
again-
matrix out to the side to show them the reflection about the y-axis
And I-
is this matrix.
Yes. And so that will be another part of the teaching tool, that this is the matrix you just did.
Yeah.
But there you go, and so now I've apparently successfully picked the right thing. It is a multiple choice question, but it's a multiple choice question with 12 options per item. And so those
And the
are,
order matters, so.
it order matters.
Yeah.
And so, and they don't know it, at this juncture, I've taken the first 4 first, the next 4 second. If they figure that out, that's still quite a number of choices. But that does help them out, but that gives them what, 64? Yes, choices. I haven't given them any kind of input here with respect to how much you skew it. It's mostly a 2 or a -2 kind of thing. It's or a half. That's it. So that's my choice, and I might even change it so it doesn't quite get this much skewing. But the important thing is there's no arithmetic anywhere. It's all the concept. And so let me go ahead and show the solutions here. And this is the question that we discovered yesterday, is we had to convert the matrix to a list. And here, the matrix was a matrix, but it was a different form of matrix. We had to convert it to a list so that the lists do compare. And so the only penalty for that is if I get it wrong, this doesn't give me as good of an answer, I don't think, anymore. It used to be the web objects would tell me your matrix is not a matrix. Oh, I've got the matrix in it. But here it just tells me it's wrong. So, there is that. Okay. See, I have one more I want to show before this. I think it's in Jason. You want to come talk, and I'll see if I have time to show the other one.
Sure.
Jason's been working on the persistence issues, but mostly upon trying to make this stuff work behind the scenes with the macros.
John, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Is all your stuff on the problem library inside Webwork?
The answer is no. It's on GitHub under my directory. The newest iterations that have happened this week are not there, but up through last week it was. And so if you look for DRJT on GitHub, then you can find under the National Problem Library the MC branch. Or, yeah.
And is it set up so that if we wanted to show the kinds of things that you have there, like as a classroom demo, instead of a Webwork problem, would we be able to see the code you used and maybe?
The code is there.
Okay.
I mean, the actual, you can take it and copy it and do whatever you want to with it.
Okay, that was my question.
But the easier thing, if you're really interested in, you're welcome to grab it there, but I'd be happy to give you a login to my place.
Oh, okay.
And you can just go in and be an instructor. And
Okay.
just don't kill everything. But, I mean, the students don't use the Sage demos. That's just for this development purpose.
Okay.
So, but you can have access to that and just, either way's fine.
Okay, thank you.
So I guess I was just going to talk a little bit about the architecture, the what's involved behind the scenes in getting this stuff to work nicely. So there are two kind of sides to it. There's the kind of student-facing side where you get interacts and problems. And some desirable features about those are that when students, of course they help students answer the question, but also if the student submits, you want to have the student to be able to submit a configuration of an interact. Sort of, maybe they don't have to put in a formula or a numerical answer, but they could configure the interact in some way as the correct response to a question, and that be graded. Also, you want persistence, so you want students to be able to go away from a problem and then come back to it, and the interact be in the same state that it was when the student left it last time. So those things are built in already into the applet interface in Webwork. And so a lot of that stuff about saving state and we can already do. So I'll just review kind of the structure of that for people that want to maybe work on it. The other, so there's a student-facing side, there's also the instructor-facing side. So a couple of people have asked for the ability to write Python code or Sage code in Webwork problems and use that to instantiate variables that would help with problem authoring. You could go out and ask Sage some complicated question that Webwork maybe can answer and use that in your problem authoring. And so that's possible too. So let me see, let me go over here. Okay, so the applet stuff is, let me go over here to what you see first. So as a problem author, when you go in and write problems in Webwork, what you do is you'll go to problem, okay, and you'll write a problem that looks something like this. I'll get to, there's a reason I'm showing this error. The one to do that. So you write a problem like this. It's a text document. It's some kind of dialect of Perl with stuff on top of it. And there's some sort of markup stuff, and you can, at the beginning of the problem, you can define variables, you can define different types of math objects like real numbers, matrices, functions, that sort of thing. And then you do computations, you display stuff to students, and then you check answers, okay? Now, you'll notice at the top, one really important part is this load macros. And that's kind of like you're importing new functionality into the namespace and the problem. Okay? So this is kind of a mini programming environment for problem authors. And one thing that Webwork, when this was built, it was built with the idea of security in mind, that you don't really want problem authors to be able to do just anything in a Webwork problem. So you cannot import arbitrary Perl modules. You're quite restricted as to what you can do in load macros. Okay. So that under the hood, so in the code, there are two parts to the Webwork code. There's the Webwork 2 stuff, which is the web application. And then there's the PG stuff, which is the problem authoring stuff. Okay? And the Webwork 2 stuff is really just a front end to the PG, the problem authoring stuff. And there are other front ends, there are web service front ends and stuff, but the Webwork 2 stuff is the main front end to it. In the PG code, you can see that it's divided between lib and macros. So lib is where if you needed to do something serious, if you wanted to use a new Perl module and make it available for problem authoring, you found some nice Perl module that did some nice stuff that you wanted to use, you would have to use that over here in lib. Okay? And then in macros, you're really restricted as to what you can do. All right? And in what ways are you restricted? So in macros, so if I go to lib, Webwork, PG, when a student sees a problem and submits it for grading, it goes to the translator. The translator is literally called translator.pm. And let's see here. Let's see. And what happens in the code is that Perl has this nice module called safe. And safe creates a bottle. And in that bottle, you can restrict what people are allowed to do. So in the bottle, code compiled in the bottle cannot see outside the bottle. So it can't call out to features available outside the safe compartment, it's called. And it also, you can restrict what types of things people are allowed to do. So this is a safe compartment, and you can see that at first it's instantiated with empty offset. So actually, it's full offset. So I was slowly dismantling this. It's in the real code, it's full offset, which allows nothing. And then you permit things. So you permit some small set of things, and then you specifically deny some things. Like you deny file system stuff, so problem authors can't mess with the file system. And you deny things like print and require. So problem authors cannot use, so requiring similar to importing Python stuff. So you can't do that in a safe compartment, all right? So that really restricts what you're allowed to do as a problem author. So the idea is that you do the hard stuff in lib, which is compiled outside of a safe compartment. Then when a problem author wants to do something in macros, you share that stuff selectively with the safe compartment. Okay, and so that's all sort of prelude to saying that it's really easy in Perl to ask Sage questions. So if I wanted to, I just wrote I wrote a Perl module called AskSage.pm to call out to the single cell web service and ask Sage questions. So, and then I wrote a little script to call it, so I can just say things like, ask Sage, what is the numerical value of pi, right? And it goes out, it comes back with it, okay? Or what is the numerical value of pi squared? Okay, so people could use that in Webwork problems, right? And we're building that in. So I'm working on building that in. Now, the safe stuff is a little bit weird, and this is the point where I'm stuck at. So it's actually, I've got it calling it correctly and working, but then there's some weird things about safe that I don't understand.
Safe, that's Perl S-A-F-E, not
Yeah.
Sage art. Okay, yeah.
Right, yeah. The Perl safe module that creates the stuff. So I'm at the stage right now where I've dismantled all of the security for the safe stuff. It still creates a safe compartment, but allows absolutely everything. But still, now I'm running into the problem where, since I can't look outside of what I've allowed in the safe compartment, that it's calling all the way up to deep stuff. It's not even, this is all in the system Perl stuff. But it's objecting because this private method isn't shared with the safe compartment, whereas the public stuff is. Yeah, kind of silly.
So this is in order to make a web request. Is there no other place in Webwork where you're calling out to an outside site to make a web request?
No, not in the problem authoring context.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is really a first thing.
Right. So this could be an issue with SAFE. So SAFE has been modified radically recently, not like within the past couple of years, and it's so some of the stuff has changed, and it may be that we're using a bad version of it, but that's where we are. With the applet stuff, the applet interface is, we want to get it to a point where it's consistent with how Flash applets and things are called, so that we can do persistence and that sort of thing. And find page. And if you're interested in reading more about that and seeing how it works, you can go on our wiki, webwork.ma.org/wiki/applets, and it describes the basic functionality. And so we're working on this Ask Sage thing for problem authors, and we're working on the applet interface for Sage Interacts. I guess that's all I have to say. John? Good. Sorry. Deep.
Are we back yet? Okay. And so that's Jason stuff. Persistence issues, as a group, we've gone through and discussed some things to do. So we have the game plan worked out. It's just a matter of doing it. I may do it in a second. One thing I want to mention before we quit is something we might want to consider is having a mini course or something like that at MathFest 2013. I don't know exactly where that is, but one where we do Sage WebWork problems. Essentially, take people that already are using WebWork, maybe have a little bit of experience with Sage, but show them how they might meld the two. Take the stuff we've done here and do a joint process. Yes, sir.
There is a short course at MathFest 2012 just on WebWork.
Yeah, it's on Flash applets.
Okay.
Yes, it's on WebWork Flash applets. JMM 2013, Jason and I are doing, that's Barbara Margulies and Felipe Martin.
Yeah, Felipe Martin.
And then Jason and I are doing a new users for WebWork, just level -1 people at JMM. But this might be something I want to collaborate on, and it might be a good source of people that would want to do this.
2013 is Hartford, Connecticut, but 2014 is Portland, Oregon. If that's local.
Well, they're all local by airport. All right, I'll show you one of our problems just for the fun of it. Then we'll go. But and maybe you can show one of yours. This is one of the things that we're able to do persistence here because WebWork keeps track of the answers in the answer blanks. And so I just wanted to show this as a fun problem. But 18. And here 18. There we go. What do you see? A contour apply. Where are the maxes? Where are the mins? Where are the saddle points?
Are you going to put a color bar by it?
I didn't want to.
Oh, so they have to figure out that white is higher or blue is higher.
But wait a minute. I've got to show 3D surface button.
Oh.
All right. And so I'm close to a saddle point, but I may not be right at it. See, I'll see that? So let's go back to this guy. And
So you could show both graphs at the same time, right?
yeah, I could, but the problem is real estate.
Yeah.
And then plus when you're fiddling around on the contour plot, it takes a while every time to refresh the 3D. I'm going to go ahead and zoom in because I think I'm pretty close already on the first guess.
You could add contour lines that would clearly show the crosses.
Well, you actually can see them when you zoom in. Can you see them now?
Oh, I see.
And so as part of, I'm trying to be a little cagey here, I guess. And so now I can see that I'm a little bit, there's a saddle right there. You can pretty much tell that, right?
Yeah.
So let's go, I'm looking at the scale at the bottom. How about 0.1? And I know it's gonna take a while to refresh it, so how about, let's wait.
You can make those be an update together, like you have to click the update button
Yes.
for those two to work.
And so I went to the right of it, that's good, now I need to come down, so minus 0.1. I guess, yeah, because you have to know to click away, if there's an update button, then you know there's an update button.
Right.
And so if you look at this one, which is gonna be 10, 25, 50 times, 1,000 times faster with the new thing, you can see I'm landing right on it there, right?
Not really, but okay, just do.
Yeah,
You could actually.
How about now?
Well, you could take a.
I can make the color map a little different, I
Or you can
guess.
put the lines actually in there as well, the lines with a different color.
That probably would be necessary, I guess you're right. And so that answer I've already entered down below here. So we can go zoom back out.
You've already answered?
Yeah, I've worked this problem before. So Webwork will remember the values you entered into those
Oh, right.
input cells
Okay.
from previous times. So persistence, once you get one right,
They'll show you the
is
right
kind of done
answer. Okay.
on this particular problem. Over here, I don't know if it's a max or a min, but I know it's over there about, what, x equals to what?
1.96,
No,
1.7?
2, and we could.
Okay.
2 and 2 maybe. Nope, that's no good. Let's see.
Why does it take so long? Are you putting a huge number of levels in this contour plot?
The answer is there are a number. I forgot how many. Because I wanted it to have enough granularity in the contour plot that you could pick a choice.
So you can use a density plot, which would maybe be faster.
I'll look at that.
Yeah, which just gives you a figure that looks like this, but without having to draw every single contour line and figure out where every contour line. It just takes every pixel and plots the color associated with that pixel.
Up here you can see I was pretty close, but now you can see I missed it some, right? And if you can look carefully, you can see. Can y'all see right here is where the max should go?
Not anymore.
Oh, you can't.
Maybe easier on the computer screen.
It is on the screen. I can see
Right.
a white circle in the middle, and then it goes to blues.
It'd be a density
So it's
plot,
gonna be-
contour plot overlaid on it.
It's gonna be at 1.84 or something and 1.7 something. So, just for the heck of it, 1.84, just to guess, and 1.7, give or take. And go ahead and let it do its business here, and I'll show you the final picture when we're done. Do you want to show any of yours?
I can show one if you want. It's, doesn't have a new transfer.
Are we still working here?
It's good.
And that's right, close to the middle of the dot. And just lastly, if you want to really check if it's a max or a min, you can tell there it is, right? So it's a min. And so you can type that number now down here, in here, and check your answers. One more thing before on the website, I have this PDF that is an Acrobat PDF, what is it? PowerPoint document. And the Webwork website, the wiki, and of course the, if you have questions, you can ask the forums. So,
Can I just take the browser window?
yes, yep, just take that. Yeah, take that one if you want to.
So this is, actually I haven't updated this for what we've done this week, but this is the other end of the spectrum.
You can press enter, you got it.
Not one more. Okay, so I guess I didn't clean this problem up before.